Unit 5, Learning Target Number 1. Use ratios to describe a relationship between two quantities. In this unit, we're going to talk about ratios. Ratios and relationships. Now, what exactly is a ratio? A ratio is simply a way to describe two related values. So two values that are related to each other in some way. For example, let's say we did a survey of our classroom and we counted how many people had Android phones versus how many people had Apple phones. In this case, we find that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students have Android phones and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students have Apple phones. Now, let's say we wanted to compare the number of people who have Android phones with everyone in the whole classroom. So we could say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 to 12 students have Android phones. So 5 out of every 12 students have Android phones. That's one way to write it. We can use this little colon right there to describe that relationship, that ratio. Now, another way that we could have written it is like this. We could have said there's a ratio of 5 to 12 and actually used the word 2 right here. Use that. That's perfectly fine. We can use that word 2. That's another way to write a ratio. Lastly, the one we'll probably use the most is this one on the bottom, where we would say there is a ratio of 5 students who have Android to 12 total students. Now that's a specific kind of comparison, a specific kind of ratio. We call that part to whole. We compared a part, the part that has Android phones, to the whole, which is everyone who has Android phones and Apple phones. Now, if we wanted to do a different kind of comparison to related values, then what we could do is a part-to-part comparison. A part-to-part comparison talks about two different parts of one whole. In this case, we could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Android phones to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Apple phones. Or if we wanted to write it like this, we could say 5 to 7. Or we could say, do you remember? 5 to 7. Now let's use word problems to think about ratios. Out of 250 sixth graders, 75 play video games every day. Out of 250 sixth graders, 75 play video games every day. What is the ratio of sixth graders who play video games every day to the total number of sixth graders? So we want to know the ratio of the sixth graders who play video games every day. That's this number right here, 75. So we're going to start with that one, 75, to the total number of sixth graders. And what was that? That was 250. 250 sixth graders. So 75 to 250, or if you remember, 75 to 250. Number 2, there were 25 people on the swim team. 12 of the team members are girls. So there's 25 people, 12 of them are girls. What is the ratio of boys to girls on the team? So boys to girls, that's our ratio. And we have to do a little bit more work for this one. We know there's 25 people on the swim team, and 12 of them are girls. So the bottom part is going to be girls. What is the ratio of boys to girls? So if we want to write it like this, the second part would be 12. We want to know for the first part, what is the number of boys? So we'll have to subtract here, 25 minus 12. What's 25 minus 12? You can probably beat me to it. 1, 3, 13. 13 to 12, or 13 to 12, or 13 to 12. Any of those is an acceptable ratio. Last one. Cameron runs 1 mile in 8 minutes. Express that as a ratio. So we can write that as 1 mile in 8 minutes. 1 mile in 8 minutes. Or we could simply write 1 over 8. Now this is a very special kind of ratio called a rate, and we're going to get to those in the next lesson. There are lots of ways to describe or to display ratios. So let's take a look at some graphs and some charts that describe ratios. Use the graph to the right to answer the questions. Number 1, what is the ratio of dogs to cats? So we're going to have dogs to cats. Dogs on the left side, cats on the right, or dogs at the top and cats at the bottom. So how many dogs do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 dogs. 7 dogs. And how many cats? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cats. 5 cats. So 7 to 5. 7 to 5. This is just a chart of all of the pets that a certain school had. What is the ratio of lizards to insects? Lizards to insects. We know that that's going to be a ratio. So lizards, we have 2 lizards to 1 insect. I guess not many people like insects. 2 to 1. Now let's take a look at a chart. What about a chart? How can a chart help us see our different ratios? What is the ratio of girls who prefer sci-fi movies to boys who prefer sci-fi movies? Well, here we'll go to the movie preference, sci-fi. There are 20 boys who prefer, whoops, we don't want to put that on top though, do we? There are 20 boys who prefer sci-fi movies, and girls, since they go on the top, also 20 girls who prefer sci-fi movies. So 20 to 20 is our ratio. Or again, we could write it 20 to 20, or 20 and the letter T-O, whoops, 20 to 20. 20 right there. What is the ratio of boys who prefer drama to girls who prefer action? Boys who prefer drama. So let's follow the boys who prefer drama. Apparently not too many. Boys who prefer drama to girls who prefer action. Here are our girls right here. We'll go over here. Girls who prefer action right there. 15. 15 girls who prefer action. So 2 to 15, or if you remember, 2 to 15.